it's so exhausting being someone other than yourself.
It's a lot of work.
It's so shit. Tried it. It didn't work. No, this is sweet. Alright, Mel gives a yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
Yeah, we're on. Amazing. Okay. Mel.
Yes. Hello. Hey, Peachy.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I was just saying before, I'm a little bit cooked from the last, I don't know how long, but yeah, it's really nice to be on your pod and to meet you, and yeah, it was great to have you come into the studio, a couple of weeks ago and do breath work and
it's
connect
awesome
in
to
that
come.
way.
Awesome to come here. I was looking for people I could collaborate with, and I saw that the breathwork thing was like tonight, and I'm like, I just need to go. I'm not even going to bother emailing. I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
And then I came here and I saw your beautiful space, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then to experience it, and the cacao, I haven't had cacao in a while, so that was a nice little...
Yeah, that was pretty special because Tracy doesn't come every week. So I often think, like, when she's there that, yeah, it's obviously the people who are meant to connect with her and to receive her, her shamanic energy healing as well, which just adds a different level to the breath work, right? Like 100%. There's the kind of more functional breath work that I do, and then the experiential spiritual work that she does behind the scenes. And yeah, which I also love learning about. I'm a bit clueless, but I pretend, nod and smile a lot and act as though, I fully understand this. Sure, whatever. I feel like you would know more about that based on your adventures and travels, right?
Yeah, I've come into contact with a few different shamans from around. I met a few when I was in India. I finally experienced, I just got off stage after doing breathwork for like 400 people.
Whoa.
And I get off stage. And this Russian woman just comes straight up to me, my mate, and she's like, oh, I'm a shaman and I need people to like play for me at my retreats. And we're just sort of like, whoa, this feels so weird. Who come up and just introduces himself as a shaman? It was just out of this world, but also met some really incredible shamans over there as well.
Yeah, cool. Did you end up working with her?
No, not with her. No.
You're like, no, thanks.
I was like, I went through the filter process. I was like, okay, if she's the real deal, we'll first invite her to our workshop and then see how she does. And she never came. Okay. So I was like, sweet, no worries.
Yeah, it's a good way to check out how invested people are in you, I guess.
100%. Especially over there, because it's such a free and spiritual place. Yeah. So you get people from all over the world, and you just... Even though it is free and spiritual, you still don't know what people's intentions are. So you got to play it. You got to play it safe.
You got to protect your energy too, right?
Oh, exactly. Oh, there's so many rabbits we could dive into just from this conversation. But I want to ask you first of all.
Sure.
What got you into this whole journey? Because I can feel your energy. I can really observe your space, and it's so beautiful. You're a psychologist, and from the little that I know about you, you come from that background of very sciencey, looking at things black and white. How did you, what was it like for you, first of all, growing up, and how did you get into the space? And then we'll sort of go out from there.
Well, I guess my mother growing up was super alternative, very witchy. I used to call her a corporate hippie, and she was like super fucking embarrassing to me because I was super conservative. I think she was so wild, and you know how energetically you tend to shift into whatever the other person isn't, right? Yeah. It's not as though it's like a conscious choice. It's more like, as a psychotherapist, I understand that we do kind of what's not offered for us, or we compensate, right? So I think with her I kind of did that, and and she raised me as a single parent, and I lived all over the place and quite a bohemian type lifestyle I'd kind of describe. And she used to call me Safi from Ab Fab. So for older viewers, they'll know that character of Saffron. She's like super straight, a bit like the mother, and the mother's like loose unit, piss head. And that was kind of my upbringing, right? I hung out with all my mum's girlfriends, and they were wild in like the best possible way. They're still my friends, and I'm really grateful to them. But she passed away when I was 14, and then I lived with my auntie and uncle who were like heaps more conservative. And then in their family system, I was actually the wild child. So it was really interesting to go from mum to like them. And so I kind of just always knew that I would study psychology when I was 14 and Mum died, I really connected with a psychologist at the hospice where she passed away, and I just really wanted to do what she did for me for other young people, to connect with them and to show them the love and care that they just needed at that point in their lives where maybe they didn't feel like they were getting those needs met in their other relationships. But, you know, as life usually does, I didn't follow that career path straight away. I remember in year 12, I got talked out of it. Yeah, lots of mixed feelings towards the person who talked me out of it. And yeah, I ended up doing marketing and international studies, and I fucking hated it and just got drunk for about a decade. And then I fell pregnant, and I was like, well, fuck, I've got to sort my life out, right? Like, I can't just be a pisshead working in restaurants forever. And I traveled a lot. I had a really good time. Like, it's not as though this was a bad time, but yeah, I didn't really know myself, and I felt really lost and unlovable, and yeah, like quite sad and lonely, I think, underneath all the facade. And so yeah, then I ended up studying. I applied for mature age entry into psychology because my GPA from my first degree was totally fucked from failing everything. So I just didn't rock up to exams, and then I did psychology, and I kind of went straight through, and yeah, it was the best thing like I could have done, and it helped me in so many ways. Like, yeah, I won't go into the nitty gritty, but I started working with my own therapist over that time and over the kind of 10 years since, and yeah, it was a really healing process for me. So I guess that was kind of the first part, right, of psychology. So yeah.
Wow, what a journey.
Yeah. And that's kind of like the short and sweet, so I don't like bore the listeners to death. They're like, oh my God, would you like
no,
stop talking now?
The listeners are, of course, I love the listeners, but this is for me. I'm selfish.
Yeah.
So like, go as deep. When I give you the mic, please take it. And
yeah.
if I need to guide you, I will. But
okay.
It sounds like we're going to have a pretty cool chat.
Yeah. There's a lot. But I guess breath work specifically happened through my business coach, Blake Worrell-Thompson. And he was offering a free, I think it was like a kind of try before you buy kind of thing for his business coaching. And it was a breathwork session, and it was a trauma-informed breathwork session. And it was like CCB, conscious circular breath. And I just remember having an experience of like a snake moving through my whole body, like energetically. And I was like, what the fuck is this? It felt so pleasurable. And like what I now understand maybe to be Kundalini energy, which just felt so, you know, awakening and loving and beautiful. And I actually walked upstairs afterwards, and I remember saying to my husband, I feel like I've taken MDMA. Like, it's just so good. And he was like, are you all right? Like, I was like, I just feel such deep loving feelings. I feel really present in my body. I'm like, I'm really into this. And so, yeah, ever since then, I've just been kind of throwing myself into every experience I can and trying to learn from as many people as possible. But yeah, I've just found it so beautiful, and that it's really helped me come into my more spiritual self. Like, I think it helped me reconnect with what I would call God or Gaia or, you know, Mother Nature or whatever people decide to call it. And yeah, it's been, yeah, I think I just have a different level of self-trust that I didn't have from any other therapy outside of breath work. So for me, it's been like the final layer that I think I really needed to accept myself and to be, yeah, to feel safe in my body, because I'd never really felt that way. I would always try and run away from it. And so that's been incredible.
When did you try breath work? So like, when did you become, when did you graduate uni? And then you obviously started practicing. And then when did you try breath work? Like, what was that sort of time frame? Because I imagine the psychologist that you were before breath work was after breath work started to be quite different.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, I graduated my master's in 2017. So that's like, 8 years ago now. And I was always really interested in somatic therapies. So I actually use a therapy called intensive short-term dynamic psychotherapy. So it's a psychodynamic therapy, and it's part of like the experiential dynamic therapies group, which means it's actually about experiencing emotion physically in the body. So it's not a talk therapy per se, like yes, there is that element, but it's an experiential therapy. And so I had already started to move more into somatic practices, and that happened, I was living in Melbourne at the time. I think I'd only finished uni maybe 2 years ago, but I was working in forensics, and I knew that my long-term career couldn't be in forensic psychology. Like, I was super affected. I had a really amazing career trajectory because I think I was a bit older, so I was getting offered like the most amazing jobs. But for a lot of people, you know, I could have been quite wealthy now. It's kind of funny to think back because I'm definitely not that. But I'm so much happier, right? And and so I think like doing the psychodynamic therapy training also opened me up to what therapy should be rather than what we get taught at uni. And I think a lot of psychologists would understand that, right? Like, I think you need to do the cognitive work initially to create the structure to do the dynamic therapy work. And when I say dynamic therapy, I mean like person to person, like where you're actually looking at feelings in relationship, helping people to understand their anxiety, how that operates physically in the body, and then the feelings that they experience and the impulses that are attached to the feelings, right? So yeah, I feel like that was kind of part of the path. And then, yeah, breath work happened. I don't know, maybe it was like, it wasn't that long ago. Might have been like 3 years ago max.
Oh, true.
Yeah, and then that was just like, I don't know, like I felt like all the stuff I'd rejected about mum suddenly became like stuff that I was into. And even I did like a yoga session in Airlie Beach with this awesome chick, Crystal, and the whole vision of this place came in. Like, it was just like,
no way.
Yeah, and then I got business coaching from the same guy who did the breath work, and he was like, oh, just stick with what you're doing, stay online, you know, it's like, it's a lot of money. And I just had this gnawing at me, like, no, like, you need to do this in person. You're not an online person. Like, I mean, in saying that, I did most of my sessions online today, but I am really like about the physical connection. And I think there's so much about touch and energy in space. And I think especially in our current society, we're so disconnected from one another. We're disconnected from ourselves often emotionally, right? And then there's this added layer of also not having physical touch or closeness. And so, yeah, I think that this place is just that kind of space where people get to be that. And it's actually like, and I love that you're running your own event here on Friday night, because I think, you know, like, it's not about me, it's about the space becoming its own kind of beast. And it's got its own energy, and I can kind of step away from it and just let people do their own thing, and that's kind of beautiful too. Yeah, I love that. It's like when I was thinking about when I started my business, I had this vision of I'm giving birth to something that is going to be bigger than me and live on longer than me. And I really feel that when you're talking about this space, because you can tell that you've put your heart and soul into it. And the fact that you're saying that, it goes to show that you're not attached to it in the sense of, you're like, this is mine, everything has to be like this. It's like, no. Like, I can see a new world for people to heal, and you're just creating that space for people to do the thing that they were going to do anyway, but you get to play a part in that piece. Well, I think there's just so many incredible people doing cool work, right? I don't need to reinvent the wheel. It doesn't have to be, you know, coming from me directly. It's just more about, you know, and particularly for the population that I work with, which is a lot of autistic and neurodivergent people, like creating spaces that actually help the body exhale, help it feel nurtured, is really important to me, because I think, you know, like, you can go into a lot of spaces and, like, great if they're in nature, which would be amazing if we could just be in nature 24 hours a day, right? That would be really healing, but most of us live in the city, and so, you know, we may not have that opportunity, or it might piss down with rain or be really hot, right? So we might need some temperature control, but it's just more like having spaces where people can, like, unfurl, but do it in a really holding way where there's all the things that they need to feel nurtured and loved, and like tea and, you know, proper water and blankets and pillows and just like, because I don't know about you, but I really want that and need that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's what drew me to this space, because I'm the same in the sense of like, I'm not going to say I think of everything, but I get very like particular. I'm like, okay, we need this. I really think about the process and all of those little things that I can just go that extra mile to give people. And I thought it was common sense, but after exploring a lot of things, it's not so much common sense.
No.
And so to come into spaces that think of that stuff, it's like, okay, it's very homely. It's that homely sort of feeling, because it does matter. Like those little things that most people seem to not really think of, once they have it, it makes a difference.
Yeah. I had a friend, Bronwyn Marshall, design the space, and she's an interior architect. She's an architect, but she does interiors. And I gave her like a really low budget. I was like, babe, I've got like 10K. Like, and I actually didn't even have that at the time. I was like, I'll just figure it out,
so
right?
funny.
Like, I just felt like I was compelled to do it. And it was actually after a shamanic medicine journey, and I just thought, nah, fuck it. I can't keep waiting for the perfect time. There's no such thing as the perfect time, and the ATO might disagree with me. But, you know, I've kind of, I've been okay, and I've made it work till now. But but I think Bronwyn did an outstanding job, and she's really good at creating spaces and very intentional about textures and design and and even plants and so I think if I ever do any other projects, I'll still work with Bronwyn. She's like she's the queen. And my husband who painted this entire thing.
Oh, bless him. Did you help him? Did you roll up the sleeves, or you watched him do it?
No, he bought a spray gun.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, but it was a bit of work.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah. To paint the whole thing green. But it's been beautiful. And the coolest thing is just like all the beautiful people who I've met who come into the space, like made some really nice friends, and have built this really beautiful community, particularly on Thursday night breathwork. It's just and they just all love each other and have built these beautiful friendships outside of breathwork too, which is really special.
Yeah, I saw one of the guys I met here. I saw him at the Cool to Be Conscious event.
Oh, cool.
We were in the same line in the same ice bath. But he was in the bath, and we sort of looked at each other, and he's like, "Hey!"
Oh, so good.
It was so cute. It's so funny. It's a small world.
Yeah.
But
the Cool to Be Conscious events are amazing.
Oh, it was ripper.
Yeah.
It was ripper. I just wanted to meet more people who were into this stuff, and like to come from somewhere like Bathurst to then be on a hill with over 600 people who registered for this thing. I was like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah, those events have gone bananas, and and I think they're really good events. I think that they have their heart in the right place, and really want to support community. And
oh, absolutely. I went and spoke to Ryan at the end of it and had a bit of a yarn to him, and he's going to jump on the podcast pretty soon, so it'd be good to have a chat with him.
Yeah.
I forgot to do this at the start because it's only a new thing, but let's drop into the space, because I did this with a guest a few weeks ago, and then the podcast was just banging.
Okay.
So just gently close your eyes, just place anything out of your lap, and just breathe through your nose into your stomach. And let it go. Just let it leave, and gently blow all the air out. And then inhale through your nose into your stomach. And gently let it go. Watch the air leave as you gently blow it all out. And then now go deeper than your stomach. Try and go as deep as you can in your body. Blow all the air out. And inhale. One more sniff at the top. One more for good luck. And let it go. Thank you for this beautiful opportunity to come to the podcast. Please invite our guides and anyone who wants to provide their positive energy on this amazing conversation. And sit with us as we talk about wherever the conversation goes. What a gift. Whenever ready, you can open your eyes. And we're back.
Thanks, Peachy.
Oh, it's amazing.
I could have stayed there.
All right. Oh, I'm buzzing on this fast. I'm absolutely
I can imagine. Although your energy is different today. It's more calm. It's really nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No food, bit of black coffee, and just shedding some stuff.
Yeah. What made you get into breathwork?
I needed answers. I was struggling massively, and I was at this camp, and my mentor who was running the camp, he's like, look, we've got this other program. I bring in my mentor to come and do this thing called breathwork, and he's talking about it. He's like, it's insane. People are like this, and I'm like, what is this? I have to go. And so I signed up straight away. I made my brother come with me, and then we ventured down to Sydney and did it, and it was just bonkers. Like I was the whole thing. Because the day before I did a mushroom trip, and my and that was with a therapist actually.
Yeah.
And so my lesson from that was that I needed to just be.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, sweet, just be. And then when we get to the breath work, I'm like, I am going for it. I'm doing this thing. And literally he just said go, and straight away I was like just into it. And I overactivated like crazy, and I was literally stuck. My T-Rex arms, my legs were cramping, going through all the stuff, but I didn't stop breathing. I was going through it. I was in my childhood. It was all happening. And then it just blew my mind. I was like, there's no way we just did this without breath. Like, this is bonkers. And then I felt so, after that, I was cooked.
Okay.
But then, like,
what do you mean by cooked?
as in I was just exhausted.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely
like
exhausted.
Lots of process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just exhausted.
Which would make sense also after the mushroom trip, right? You would have been even
100%.
from that too, because they're usually pretty intense as well.
Yeah, and so, I was just cooked, and then I was like, wow, this is insane. And then, I was like, okay, as soon as I have money, I'm going to go and learn from this guy.
Okay.
And then, so I did, long story short, I did this job, I did some more breath work, got fired, was like, okay, let's go. And then I spent more time with him, and then, spent more and more time with him, and then I got trained by him, and
So
I just love it. Like, it's so insane to me that something that, like, just by controlling how you breathe has such profound effects. It was just mind-boggling.
It still blows my mind. I don't know if you're familiar with, I think it's Martin McKinley. He's a guy who lives in WA, and he's a breathwork scientist.
Interesting.
I haven't done all of his training. I've just done, a couple of the free ones that he runs, but it's so good to learn like the physiology of breath work too. I think that's what I guess that's where my nerd part comes in, where I really want to understand all the mechanisms at play, like what's happening in terms of our neurophysiology, what neurochemicals are being released. And I guess the answer is we don't know a lot. But also, I guess part of me that feels really passionately is about equipping breathwork practitioners with like trauma-informed practices, because I guess a lot of people, at least the ones that I've encountered, aren't that well versed in different anxiety kind of processes, especially at the unconscious level, and how that can, really fortunate for you that you pushed past that point, but for lots of people that can create lots of feelings of panic and fear inside of them, right? And then if they don't have someone to down-regulate them, which I'm sure you've been taught because you've done a lot of extensive training, right, that can create a lot of, worry inside of them and exacerbate some panic disorders or some mental illnesses, right? So I think, I'm trying to kind of operate in that space between where I can do the work and also perhaps support people who are working in the space but maybe just want a little bit more understanding of the science behind what we're doing and how we're changing people's body chemistry, especially with breath holds, right? How I guess how we can do that really safely. And yeah, there's awesome people like Martin already working in that space, and I'm sure plenty of others, but he's just the one I'm most familiar with, which I think is just a really important consideration for us all. Like, what are we opening up in people, and then how are we supporting them to integrate and and make sense of these pretty wild experiences. Because I don't know about you, but when I had my wild experience, like, I'm really educated, and even then I was like, I don't know what the fuck that was like. And part of it's probably unexplainable, right? But at least as much as we can, like, how can we explain the parts that we can to audiences so that they don't get so afraid.
Exactly. And I think one of the things that I learned from my mentor specifically, and it's probably why I had such a profound experience and why I continued to have them, was because looking back, he created such this huge container of safety that it wasn't even a question. That was the reason I went so hard, was because I knew that I was safe and I knew he would take care of me. Like, it was such a deep belief that it was like, it just let me just go nuts. And then there was no negative repercussions after that, because I could have that safety and to know that there's nothing wrong. Like, it's just all part of it. And then thankfully being able to spend so much time with him, I now carry that into my sessions. And that's why I do, like, my minimum session I'll do is 4 hours, because I need a whiteboard and I need to give context and I need to create the space before we start to journey, because it is so profound. And I want to give people that opportunity to have those profound experiences, not just rock up, breathe and go home. And it depends on the type of breathing that you're doing, but because I'm about those massive breakthroughs, it's like, none of this is scary to me. It's all just stuff that's happened. And it's like, we are the ones that make it scary. So let me be the invitation to help people understand that it's not scary, and we are the ones that judge it, and we create it. We create it essentially. So amazing stuff. You said something before that I can resonate with, the nerd inside of you. So I correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume that you're the sort of person that loves to discover things and figure things out and understand what was happening. So that same part of me led me to curing celiac disease with breathwork completely. Like, amazing. Diagnosed twice, and then now I eat naan bread. Like, it's, when I was in India, I was eating it like it was going out of fashion.
Wow.
So run me through the stuff that you've discovered so far, and no one's going to hold you to this. This is just two people talking about stuff that you've discovered, and then, like, what suspicions do you have? Like, I'll just give you the mic, and just what do you think about?
Well, I guess, like, if we look at celiac disease from my psychological training, like, we often see that as like a smooth muscle problem. So when I say smooth muscles, I mean, like, all of your involuntary muscles in your body. So the things that just work without you ever having to think about them, like your lungs, your heart, your liver, kidney, stomach, bowels, right? And when people have, I'd say, moderately high anxiety, they tend to get symptoms in those involuntary muscles. So things like celiac disease can be caused by, or any autoimmune conditions can be caused by that involuntary muscle anxiety that's chronic and enduring. So we see it the same with, like, any kind of skin disorders. Sometimes people get disorders of, like, their, how their blood moves through their body. They can get tachycardia, heart arrhythmias. That's what I got in my master's year due to stress, which is like I essentially had an extra heartbeat in my heart. So my heart was beating at about 170 beats per minute incessantly, like it didn't stop.
Oh my days.
And that was just caused from constant stress. So that's like how stress discharges into our physiology and causes, like, dysfunction, right? So I guess I see celiac disease as one of those dysfunctions. So I guess if I link that to breath work, a lot of breath work is about down regulating the nervous system, so using the diaphragm to massage all of those involuntary muscles. It also massages the vagus nerve, the 10th cranial nerve, which is the nerve that, communicates a lot of, like, the data around, like, should I be afraid of this or not, from the digestive system all the way through all of the involuntary muscles up to the brain, and vice versa, right? So often through breath work, we're kind of giving that nerve a bit of a massage. So we're kind of telling it by using the diaphragm that we're safe, that there's nothing to be afraid of. And then we can use other things strategically like breath holds, which change our neurochemistry. But essentially through using a combination of up-regulating or down-regulating and then up-regulating and down-regulating breaths, we're kind of changing that physiological process of our smooth muscle anxiety. So from that perspective, I think for me, curing celiac disease or any other autoimmune condition makes total sense, even like digestive problems, IBS. I guess in the same vein, if you had someone moving into a sympathetic state and didn't support them to down-regulate, we could have the opposite problem, which I don't know if you've ever had, but I've certainly had that in sessions where people have come out with maybe an increased heart rate and I've had to help them, move into a down-regulated state. I've had someone, be quite activated, right, during breath work. So I guess it's like, and I'm pretty well educated on it. I'll often screen for smooth muscle anxiety or what we call cognitive perceptual disruption, which is when anxiety is even higher and it causes like loss of consciousness. So where your prefrontal cortex isn't on board, you're just operating from basically your brain stem. So all of those automatic functions you're really sweet at doing, but anything where you have to think, you're totally fucked. And the hippocampus at that point in time, which is where you store your memory, just doesn't work. So often when I'm screening for breath work, I'm going to check out, do people have that smooth muscle anxiety? Do they get cognitive perceptual disruption? Anyone who gets anxiety or cognitive perceptual disruption, I'm going to be very careful with their breathwork style, and just be very conscious of that. Check in, how did they go with it? But a lot of that you can just monitor through those early breaths, like how is the breath moving? Is it shallow? Are they expelling? So I find all of that stuff super interesting. I think for me, the most important part that I think people really benefit from is understanding those unconscious signs of anxiety and stress. Because then they can use the breath as like the remote control to change that. And if they do it long enough, even just through exhaling, because often we breath hold, and then CO2 builds up and we're like, it's like the panic disorder cycle, right? Just repeatedly. Just really letting that, I'm like, if that's all you do, that's sweet, man. Like the best interventions don't have to be tricky, right? So I think I tend to nerd out on all the simple stuff that actually when people know and when they do, it can change their life. And even like, the thing I love the most is an ice pack on the back of your neck. Like, how does no one know about the dive reflex and how the ice pack just brings on the dive reflex, and that's, that creates parasympathetic activation, right? So, like a lot of the things that we can teach through breath don't have to be tricky. They can be like the most simple interventions that will actually transform someone's life. Like people often aren't looking for like breakthroughs. They just want symptom relief. Like, I don't know about you in your experience, but I love that you've got like I think they were fMRI results.
QEEG.
Oh, yeah. But amazing, like to see the differences.
Right. I was nerding out hard.
Amazing. Like, and what distance were those taken apart?
Like 18 months.
Wow, that's incredible. How was that to experience that yourself? Like, I guess the science behind, the practice.
I thought I was genuinely afraid that I had schizophrenia.
Okay.
Because I'm like, what the fuck is going on? This can't be normal. And then I was like, wait, am I fucking psycho? Like, what's going on? I was like, just get scans done, bro. I used to listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, and he's like, brains are the only organs that we don't scan before treating. And I'm like, true. I'm gonna get a scan. And I did. And then he sits down with me and he's like really cautious, because I checked myself in. No one checks themselves in. They're all referrals. I just booked in.
Like into a hospital?
No, into the place that did it.
Yeah.
And and he's just like, who are you? Like in a nice way.
Yeah.
But then he's sitting down with me after doing the scans, because I come from Bathurst, so we did both appointments in one day. Usually you would have a week between them. And he's like, I think he's probably sitting there like, how do I break this news to this guy? Does he even know what's going on? Because I was super chill when I was there.
Yeah.
And And he's like, yeah. I was like, oh yeah. I don't know, he said something pointed. I was like, oh yeah, trauma. And he's like, oh yeah. Like he knew that I knew. I was like, yeah, I'm sweet, bro. Like it's cool. Just tell me what you found.
Tell me, yeah.
Yeah. I don't give a shit. I was like, is it schizophrenia? Okay. He's like, yeah. I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, wild. But the simple stuff. The simple stuff is so important. It's like Stephen Bartlett talks about this. One of the things that made him who he is and built the brands that he did is because he sweats the small stuff. And I couldn't agree more. Like sweating the small stuff is the stuff that helps people get closer. It's like those little building blocks. And even Jordan Peterson talks about this. He's like, how easy can you make it? How easy can you make it?
Yeah.
And it's like combining those things, and then just a simple thing. Like I made a video about this, and I'm like, if you just do one conscious breath, high five yourself. You meditated and you did breath work. Amazing. If you feel good, do another one. If not, celebrate that.
Yeah.
Because it adds up. One turns into 3, turns into 10, turns into you've got your fucking astronaut helmet on and you're psychonauting into the bullshit.
Yeah. I think we often overcomplicate interventions, or I actually recently had this where I went to like an integrative GP and like, I had some stuff that helped me. But, like I think the most important things are like morning and evening sunlight and, moving your body like purposely every day. I mean, it doesn't have to be like gym junkie stuff, but I don't know about you, but even like I didn't run for 2 weeks and I noticed that I was like pretty dysregulated, not in a really dysfunctional way, but I just didn't feel quite like me, like a bit more irritable. And like having like good quality salt in your water so that you properly hydrate, especially on the Goldie or if you live in a hot climate, like I think, we complicate so much, and being healthy actually isn't that hard. I think the harder part more is when we've got relational trauma and we're trying to heal and we don't have healthy attachment figures who we can do that with, right? And I guess that's the part for therapy or breath work in a supportive community. But I think it's I think that's probably the tricky part. And I think what's really hard to see in the current environment is it's really based on how much money you have if you get access to those services still. So hopefully that will change sometime in the future, but right now it's it's a bit of an unfortunate space in between, but we just do what we can do, and hope that through I don't know about you, but I just try and show love and care to like the people in my close proximity, and then just hope that energetically will just kind of keep going on towards everyone else, right? Like it's that idea of karma. And like I really experienced that in marathons. Like I recently did Queenstown, and I was really fucked. It was like the last 6K, and we were like approaching Queenstown, and I was so fucking slow. Like it took me an hour to do the last 6K. I was like, I'm just gonna basically run it, right? And then as soon as we got into Queenstown, you have the people cheering for you, like you start running, and you're like running reasonably fast. Like it's just like the energy of the people. It's really, it's something really, really special. And I think, I just hope that people can find ways to connect with other people, even if they've had trauma, and even if they find it really hard to trust people, that they just keep trying to find a community that will hold them and that will love them exactly as they are, in all their fucked up mess, in all their complexity. Just that, it's not about trauma dumping on people, but it's about trusting that you can be you, and that, eventually you'll find your people. And, and I think even just that, like I often don't think therapy needs to be hard. It's just more like, just loving people. And I think that's all I've ever needed was love.
That's it. Like all the work I've done with my clients, it's like even with the everything, like from the breath work, if I have to intervene and we do some, like I'll talk to their subconscious and we'll do some NLP, or I'll do visualizations and stuff like that. Like we get to the core and they just literally want love. That's it. It's at the core of absolutely everything is love.
I actually did a breathwork session with a client today, and she said, I just felt so much love. And I won't talk about the specifics, so I don't want to identify her, but Yeah, it's just so nice when people move back into that space and they're just deeply connected with that loving guidance inside of them. Like, you know, some people call it self, God, you know, whatever it is, right? It's a powerful force when you can find it inside of you and just trust that it's always there. It's never, even when you're totally fucked up and think that you can't get through it, like you can.
Yeah.
And
so if you think about the hardest day of your life, it's like you made it, like you're here.
Yeah.
And then it's also bringing, I've been talking a lot about compassion recently, and showing yourself compassion and recognizing that suicide is, I don't know the stats, but if it's not it's one of the leading causes of death in the world. So what does that tell us? It tells us that this is not a joke. It's like people lose their lives every day because they couldn't win the battle. It's like you're doing, like, the fact that you're here and you have that mentality of keep going, then that's it. And some days it's going to feel like you're losing and shit and da-da-da-da-da. But you just keep showing up and it gets better and it gets better. And then before you know it, you blink and you're like looking back at that old self who used to struggle so much and you're like, oh shit. It's like you don't even identify with that person anymore. But then you still have, like, it's not like everything's hunky-dory.
No.
Like you still go through shit. You still figure out like what works and what doesn't work. Something I've been exploring lately is cause and effect, and not attaching meaning and stories to things, but just looking at everything as data. And it's like, okay, so I don't feel amazing. Okay, well, first of all, I'm not always going to feel amazing. But then secondly, what have I done recently? How's my sleep? How's my diet? How much am I working really, really hard? And not just like work, but like sweating.
Yeah.
And it's like, though, if there's an incongruency with those three things, it's like, that's where I start.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I think, look, suicide, I don't work a lot with clients in that space anymore. I used to work with really, really people who were really, really struggling, and I think often our client work will reflect where we're at. So our clients are often in similar spaces to us. I find it very interesting. And so when I was at my most fucked up, I had clients who were really dire, really struggling, lots of distress and, you know, hospitalizations. And then, as I've gotten more well myself, I think, I've seen the same thing happen in my patients. And so now I'm probably working with the most healthy group of people I've ever worked with, right? Which is quite beautiful too. But it's dreadful that people think that they need to take their lives. Like, it's actually interesting. The psychotherapy that I use often sees suicidal ideation as, and this is different to like what we would call like clinical depression, which is often more of a neurochemical problem. And I really believe that. I've worked with enough people now that I do think there's something that happens neurochemically when there's been a collapse for so long in terms of neurohormones. And I think people do need something to shift that. I do think breathwork is really helpful in that cohort, and I've seen it be helpful in that cohort. It helps build interoceptive awareness or awareness of what's happening physically inside the body. And I think it does help the brain become more responsive in the same way that psychedelics do. I don't have the data around that. I would love to start collecting it, but I tried to approach a university recently and it kind of got poo-pooed. So that's all right. I will reapproach that when I want to. But I guess, in terms of that, more like where it's more like repression, where we're more like getting shut down in relationships, often I see that as a way of avoiding angry feelings. And I don't mean like violence or aggression. I just mean anger physically in the body, that there just hasn't been a healthy experience of anger and how anger needs to be expressed. And so often that gets internalized. It becomes shame or, putting yourself down, attacking thoughts, self-harm behaviours. That might be like alcohol use, drug use, that's problematic, right? So often my work is just helping people to face their angry feelings towards the people who have hurt them, let them down in the current, in the past. We start in the current because it's less activating, and then often there's usually an automatic unlocking, and that's transformational. Like, that kind of work helps people change. we call it like character structure change. So where their personality changes, and it's really powerful to see and to experience. And I think there's a space for using breathwork and psychotherapy concurrently, which is kind of my model of best practice. I would use it with all my clients, but you know, breathwork still feels a bit woo-woo to people. People are still, you know, there's still resistance in the community. I think people who try to like, wow, that's amazing, or they're like, I'm still a bit spooked from it, and it's not really their jam. That's okay. You know, not every intervention is going to be for every person, but yeah, I think I'd love to see it at a point where this is kind of like standard practice, in the same way that psychedelics are being introduced for treatment-resistant depression. I would love to see that happen with breathwork, and I think it's only just a matter of time. Like there's some really good research coming out, like Johannes Egberts is published with Macquarie, and I think is recently published with I don't know if it's Arizona University as well, doing a breathwork study with him, and because he has a huge online community, like he can just collect huge amounts of data. So it'd be really interesting to see how things kind of play out. Oh, and an interesting thing for you, I think you'll be curious about this. When I was at uni, when I did my undergraduate, I actually did a sleep study. Like I was a research assistant, and we had to practice wiring each other up with polysomnography.
Right.
And I'd been volunteering at a Buddhist monastery in the Adelaide Hills at the time, and so I'd been practicing a lot of meditation, right? So I was like, oh, I'll just meditate during this because it's a good opportunity, like no one's talking to me, and as I was meditating, it looked like I was asleep. So like I was fully awake, but the data from the polysomnography said that I was asleep. And I remember them saying to me, did you fall asleep, Mel? And I said, no. And they said, oh, it's really interesting because the data was reflecting that you're asleep. And so I think that's where yoga nidra comes in, and all of those kind of deeply meditative practices, because they do induce sleep like waves,
it does.
neurologically, which is really cool. So
It reminds me when I did my brain scan, like the first one, and because he's saying to me, he's like, you have a really like good brain. He's like, if I put your brain in somebody else, he's like, they wouldn't be able to handle it. Because I was sitting there meditating while it was scanning me. I was watching this Netflix thing, and I was just chilling meditating. So if you look at the summary, it's all green, but then you look under the hood, there was those huge red patches. But it makes, and just, you know, Dispenza, of course, like the amount of data that he's got. I'm reading Becoming Supernatural at the moment, and it's like, that's my new Bible.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's just out of this world. There's what meditation does to the body and what it does for you. Yeah. It's like, that's another thing. When I look at when I'm not feeling amazing, what are the things that I'm not doing? And meditation is a huge one, because you don't necessarily notice the benefits of meditation in the moment. It's the compounding effects, and then when you don't do it, that's why I fell in love with it, because I did it consistently. I was like, this is shit, and then I stopped doing it, and I started to get really irritated, and I was like, there's no way it was doing that. And then lo and behold.
Well, it's just so good for getting people, you know, back into their body and noticing, you know, I think a lot of our life is spent, you know, in our heads. Like, I can't remember what the book is, like Breathe by James Nestor, how he talks about like the amount of data that we take in one day is like equivalent to what we used to take in a whole lifetime.
Yeah.
In caveman days. And it's fully true, right? Like I think about, I wake up, I often reach straight for my phone. I'm like I just usually check like the key things, right? But like on the days that I don't do that, when maybe I just get up and go straight for a run, or I go swimming, like I just feel less irritable, less overwhelmed. So even just like creating spaciousness between ourselves and our technology, which I really try and do. I'm not that great at, but you know, I'm as addicted to the dopamine fix as anyone. But yeah, it does just allow ourselves a bit more time to like just arrive in the day. And one of the shamans who I worked with during my last medicine ceremony, she was like, if you can do breath work every day, it'll keep you in this state. And like, I couldn't do that, but I mean, I wanted to, but I also don't know, is that like a resistance, or is it actually like just not cool for me to be waking up at 4 a.m. and getting an hour less sleep. I'm like, I don't know.
It depends how easy you make it. Like, I mean, I wouldn't put aside an hour to do it every day.
Yeah.
But I just make it like easy. It's like I've done breathwork countless times just while we've been talking.
Oh, yeah. And I do that.
Exactly. So you're already doing it.
I do that, but she really wanted me to do
like
more.
just specific it makes sense. Like, I can understand why. And whenever I do like the longer ones, obviously you feel insane.
Yeah.
Like, or I've done like, I'll lay on the lounge. One of my favorite things to do when I was in Bathurst was the sun would rise into my lounge room, and I'd have my lounge and it would just cop it. And so I would just lay there and just breathe as deep as I could. And sometimes I'd be there for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And it's just like, you're just buzzing at the end of it.
Do you ever miss Bathurst?
Yeah, for sure. I miss the people. Like, and the quietness of it. Like, it's a beautiful town. I've got no hard feelings towards it whatsoever. My family's there. Like, the dog is there. I've got good friends there. But, yeah, it's one of those things that I miss it, but I also, like, don't at the same time because I'm 1,000,000% supposed to be here.
How are you finding the Goldie?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I was supposed to go to the sunny coast.
Yeah, you said.
Yeah, but then I just kept meeting people, and then I'm like, I feel like maybe I should, I don't know, maybe I won't go to the sunny coast. And then I just met more people, and then I'm like, okay, I need to stay on the Gold Coast.
You can always go and try it too, and the people will still be here. I think often one of my peers says, like, he thinks that the Gold Coast is like the wellness capital of Australia.
100%.
I do think, a lot of people here have come here because they want the kind of lifestyle, like the ocean lifestyle. And I don't know about you, but I get up at like 4 or 5 a.m. to run. And yeah, it's just nice to see other people doing the same thing.
Everyone's out doing stuff so early.
Yeah, we kind of don't have a choice with the sunrise,
Yeah,
right? Like, even this morning I was getting up for squad, for swimming, and it was like 4:30, and I'm like, the sun's already up, man. Like, which is a shame because you don't get to see the sunrise. But yeah, it feels like a place where people are really focused on living and living fully. And I'm sure there are clusters of people who don't feel that way and don't operate that way. It's just they're just not part of my circle, right? So I think that this is a really cool place to live if you're wanting to do exciting things and to kind of break the mold. And so cool that you're here and that you're offering your breath work to people locally. I think it's nice because you're younger as well, so it's nice for other young people to connect with younger facilitators. I think that there's a salience in that. And I was actually telling my husband about you, and he was like, well, Peachy will offer something that, you can't offer them, just because of his age and not only your experience. You'll have different practices, different ways of being, and there will also be an offering. But I also just think who you are and where you're at in life will, help other people in similar places to be able to be like, oh yeah, I can do that, and this is possible for me too. And that's nice to see, like, a young man who can do that for other young people too, right? I mean, you might not see yourself that young, but as a 40-something-year-old woman, I'm like, yeah, it's nice to see young people stepping into that space and being brave and taking risks and not following the traditional path, right?
Yeah, right. It's like it's funny how once you start to heal yourself, then you just give less fucks, and it transitioned into this sense of duty that I have, and it's like, if I can be a permission slip for somebody, then it is my honor, and I just don't care about anybody who's not with me anymore. Like, I have compassion for them. However they show up in any area of my life, whether it's hate comments or whether it's like people saying this or you hearing this or whatever, it's like, I have nothing but love and compassion for them because it's like they're going through their own deal, like, and if I'm the permission slip for them to sit in whatever bullshit they're using me for, then cool, no worries. I'm strong enough to take that on. Like, it does not faze me.
It's often like their own psychological defenses, right? How they avoid their own shit and project onto you. And
exactly.
I think when we can see that fully, then you just don't take things personally anymore. And I mean, even myself, I've often wondered, like, how outside the psychology community am I stepping, and is this safe, and is this okay? And I actually had a conversation recently with a group of psychs and social workers online who I meet with every Friday, and they're like, Mel, we think you could be projecting. Like, they didn't say that, but they essentially said that. They're like, I don't think that people really have a problem with this. I think that's in your head. And that was actually also really nice to see how I also still project sometimes. And, and that actually, if people have got a problem with it, then hopefully they can come and talk to you and let you know. But, I just think this work is so important. I think a lot of the people who have resistance to it are people who haven't tried it and maybe, think that it's something, where we're doing, like, I often joke with my clients when they walk in here and I'm like, it's not a seance, because I'll have the mats and stuff out and sometimes the candles and they'll just laugh and they'll be like, oh yeah, what is this? Because often most of my psych clients don't come as breathwork clients, right? Because they're a bit spooked by it. And I had hoped to be a bit of a bridge between psychology and breathwork, but it's insane the amount of resistance that people have. And I hope that as people see that there's nothing to be afraid of, that it's not scary, that more people will move towards it. But I think that's also about us talking about it in a way that doesn't feel like overwhelming, which is one of the reasons why I've started the 5 p.m. class. It's just to do just nasal breathing, just down regulating breathing, box breathing, ladder breaths, like just so people can have an experience of breath work that is very accessible, easy, something they can integrate into their daily practices, because I think so much of what we teach is like intense, and I don't think everyone wants that either. So like, how can we also lean into like the simple stuff as teachers, right? So I'm hoping that will also maybe bring people into a space where they're like, oh yeah, I'll now try the 6:30 session, right? Or Peachy's session, or anyone else who's doing like the Call to Be Conscious cruise sessions, right? Like,
Yeah, it's all building blocks. It's all building blocks. And then to work with people who are open-minded and growth-minded, like the fact that you could be around people where they can literally, obviously not in those words, but they say that you're projecting, is huge. I was at one of my mentors' houses the other day, like a couple of weeks ago, and they're asking me questions about what I'm doing and yada, yada, yada. And they're like, Peach, you should train coaches and facilitators. You need to work with like people more like on the higher intellectual level. And I was like, and I started giving him excuses on why I couldn't do it. And they're like, because he's like a master in hypnosis. And he's like, do you need to listen to my hypnosis track on imposter syndrome? And I'm like,
that's a good idea.
And I'm like, I don't have imposter syndrome. And I was like, wait a minute, do I have imposter syndrome? And then it was funny because like I listened to it and then I did your breathwork session, and then so it's funny that you said that I look lighter coming in, because that's been a massive thing that I've shifted in the last few weeks.
Okay, amazing.
Because they were talking to me and asking me questions, and they're like, okay, so you've worked with over 1,000 people across 5 countries, and you've cured your own stuff. You don't just teach from a textbook or from life, like da 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 da. And they're like, and you think that you can't train coaches? And I'm like, fair enough.
I think it's often like, I guess I see imposter syndrome operating in 2 different ways. And part of us, I used to think it was only a psychological defense, but I think for some of us it is an expertise gap. Like, we want to understand, because I'm the same, and I think some of that is about humility, like knowing that we can't ever know what's possible for everyone and where everyone will go and what's going to happen in a room, And so I think, like, can we not also just see that as like part of being human, that, that there's always going to be a knowledge gap. And I think, I don't know about you, but the more I know, the more I realize I don't know.
Exactly.
Which is really fucking humbling too.
Yeah, right.
And, and I actually like that. I love that I'm hungry.
So freeing.
Yeah. It's like, that I'm never going to be a fucking guru, and I fucking hope I never act like that. Like, I never want to be a dickhead who thinks that they're better than everyone. I just want to always be the same as everyone. And even with my clients, I'm like, we're the same.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just as imperfect as you are. Like, maybe I have less psychological defenses, less anxiety, but I'm still a human, right? Where no one's better. And so, I think there's that part. And then I think, there's more like the psychopathology of the imposter syndrome. And Yeah, but I think for lots of people it is just that kind of like, I'm hungry to know more, I'm hungry to want more. And like, I think we all reach, I mean, there is the part where, yeah, you have to expose yourself to something and then your nervous system's like, oh, that wasn't so bad and I can do that, right? Maybe on a small scale. But, you know, part of it is that I think everything just happens in perfect timing.
It does, doesn't it? It's a bit spooky sometimes.
Well, like, I think that your opportunity to do that will just like arrive. And, you know, and that's not through not consciously putting it out there, but like through running your workshops and meeting, you know, potentially coaches who come to your workshops, or them having friends and introducing, especially on the Goldie, like you'll meet fucking thousands of people. You'll probably be like, oh, fuck, I have to talk to you, you know, like not in a bad way, but
course.
like in an energetic way. You're like, oh, another person, ready for a bit of quiet time. So yeah, it's, and I would also say to you, you know, just be discerning. Not everyone's going to give you what you want, and you can trust in that. And even with your supervisors, with your mentors, like they may, they're speaking also from their projections, right? So how they see you, what they wish for you. And like, you can check out, is that what I wish for me? Like, I love working with clinicians. I work a lot with psychologists, with healers, as a psychotherapist mostly, but I mean in this space you had lots of health professionals come, but like, would I want to teach breath work? I don't know. Like, I mean, I like teaching it in this context, but would I want to teach it for teacher training? I'm not sure. So, you know, like, you can discern what you want. Like, do you want that?
Yeah,
yeah, you do.
Yeah, I've got this vision that it downloaded to me when I was in the ashram in a meditation, and it was like, it was so big that I got lost a few times, just thinking like, because it was so far in between where I was now, I just got so lost. But then you just keep showing up and you keep putting one foot in front of the other, and then it gets clearer and clearer and clearer, and now I can see it pretty clear.
It's exciting. Yeah. And I think, you know, in the process, just always holding on to you and what you want. And
100%.
Yeah, and trusting in your hopes, your aspirations. But yeah, that's really exciting.
Yeah, I love it. I could talk about it, but I won't.
You're welcome to.
No, this is about you. This is the whole reason I started this.
It's always about we. Everything in life is about we, right? Of course. It's yeah, so you can take up just as much of the floor, and that can be just as special. And
I appreciate that, Mel. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
One thing I wanted to ask you was, as you've gone on this journey, how has your environment changed? And specifically the people in your close circle. How have you watched that evolve? And then what have you had to do to protect your energy?
That's a really good question. Look, I think for the most part, my environment is pretty similar. I'd say I went through a big detox socially, my liver and my social network, quite a few years ago. And I was really lucky because I'd kind of moved to the Goldie for uni. I'm from Adelaide. So I did my undergrad there, my honours, and then moved up here to do forensic psych. And then, and I didn't really have many connections at that point. Like, I had a handful of friends, really, really close, couple of really, really close friends, but, you know, really struggled to connect with people. And I think a lot of that was just that they were just on different levels. I felt like I had to really contain myself. And back then I was a bit of a party monster. So, you know, I wasn't very containable. And then I moved to Melbourne, and that was much more like party monster land. So I could kind of just act out all of my debaucherous ways, and, you know, that was really accepted down there. And even working in the prison, I would say that lots of people were alcoholics who worked at the prison. It was very common, lots of maladaptive behaviours. And so, you know, like, it wasn't really frowned upon.
Yep.
But then I think when I came back, so in Melbourne maybe for 18 months. And I had my son still. So, I mean, I say like alcoholic. I wasn't an alcoholic, but I was partying a bit more than I probably wanted to be. And I definitely felt it. Like I wasn't taking proper care of myself. And my husband had a few really bad skateboarding injuries. We had one, and then he had another injury where he just snapped his arm in half twice in like 6 months. So Melbourne was not his favourite place at all. So when we came back here, I got a job at Queensland Health, and I was just in a bit of a different community, like kind of similar age, maybe a bit older, but very balanced, very present people, really professional, and that was really good for me. And my husband actually stopped drinking at that point in time, and then I stopped drinking maybe 12 months or maybe longer after. I think I fell pregnant, so I stopped drinking naturally, and then I had my son and I was drinking a little bit, but then I stopped drinking maybe like, a year after Freddie was born or something, and I stopped drinking for maybe 18 months, and that was when everything changed for me. I think I just realised like how much alcohol affected my life. And back then I wasn't even drinking that much, but it would just, even like 1 or 2 drinks, I'd just feel shit. So I just started to really see the cost of that behaviour on my life. And I just started like going for it. Like the growth in my business was enormous. I had really good people around me, really high quality people. And I just started just attracting just the best humans, like, and I've always had really good mates, so I think I've been really blessed, but I think it was just a different level. And even like the photographer who did my photos for ZenSo House the first time, like she introduced me to Rita, who's a shamanic energy healer who I just fucking love. And through this place, I already knew Tracy, like she lives on the same fucking street as me, only we'd never connected. And she was like, I study shamanic energy, I'd love to work in your space. I was like, yeah, come on down. And I've got a couple of I'm actually really lucky. My son, I've got a 16-year-old, his friends' parents are like some of the best humans ever.
Yeah, cool.
So he's also always introduced me to really incredible people, like his girlfriend, his girlfriend's parents, his old best mate, and his mum. So I think, and since I've been on the Gold Coast, like everyone's just gotten behind me, like, and it's not your old mates who get behind you. Like it's really interesting, like often they're not the ones who like share your shit, or it's like these new people who come into your life and they don't owe you anything, right? Like they barely know you, and like I remember this, she's amazing, her name's Nat, she's a school mum. I just started my psychology practice. She introduced me to like this bariatric surgeon who she was working for, and she was like, just come and meet him. And then I ended up doing his assessments for bariatric surgery. One of my best friends is a psychiatrist, so I used to work, she sends me a lot of referrals. Like I've just been so looked after, and I even feel like that in this space, like, and often I think of that as like spirit energy, or the mountain I apparently brought home from New Zealand. I say apparently, Tracy told me it happened, so it must be true. It's just been, it's very humbling. Like I don't know if you feel like this when you just see like the outstanding quality of people around you, and you're like, how did I get so lucky? Like I almost feel like crying. Like it's like, I feel very blessed in my life. My children are amazing. My husband's really good to me, it's incredible how good life gets when you stop being, I guess, when you realize that, you have it all, and it's just your choice whether or not you want to take life by the horns or not, right? And be proactive in your own recovery and your own health and well-being. I definitely haven't always been like that.
It's like that saying, no one's going to do this for you. I heard that very, very, very early on, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, what? But then as time on, I realised I was like, subconsciously, I expected someone to do this for me, or I expected it to just happen. It's like, you have to do it. It's like if that means waking up in the morning and brainwashing yourself with gratitude, then that's what it takes. And like, I'll get down to, I'm so grateful I have hands, I'm so grateful I have feet, I slept in a bed, I get organic food, da 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 da. It's like, until I feel not like, again, it's like, you're not like running from stuff, but it's about having that perspective. And it's going, there's always more than one perspective. And you could be tired, and you could be underslept, and you could have to do this, or you could have slept in a bed and you could have slept it all, and you could have your limbs, and then you get to do this.
I remember when I encountered red and green light thoughts. I think it's like the guy who founded CBT, or maybe, I think it's Albert Ellis anyway. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And I was like, this shit's fucking transformational. It was like shoulds versus I want to, I'm going to, like I have to versus I'm choosing to, like I must versus this is something, you know, and I remember I just used to think this is dreadful, but I used to always say I have to go and see my grandfather. And my grandfather's like the fucking coolest dude ever. He's now dead. You know, and just so dreadful to think that I thought like that, like that I related to him as like a burden or something to be gotten through, rather than this incredible human being who I just loved so much, you know. And I remember that class at uni, and I was like, fuck, that's like the simplest intervention I can do, is just working on that like way of thinking, and it transformed so much for me. I even remember at the ashram in Adelaide, I had this experience of where I would like be like, oh fuck, it's a lot of hard work, all this painting and fucking cleaning, and I don't really want to do it. I'm not really someone who likes doing things that are hard, if I'm fully honest. So, and I remember the nun who was working with me said, like, reframe it as exercise, reframe it as moving your body. And so now anytime I'm doing anything I don't want to that's physically difficult, I'm like, yeah, I'm moving my body, and this is, you know. So I think a lot of this is like that brain training. We're trying to rewire neural pathways to look for what's positive, right? And the more we see what's positive, then the more positive stuff comes towards us. It's the same if we're looking towards the negative, like negatively framed goals. So yeah, I think a lot of, you know, that kind of brain training work is we call it metacognitive work, and it's just starting to practice, you know, doing different cognitive strategies. If you think towards the negative, thinking towards the positive, just practicing it. And I often say to my clients, like, you don't have to say anything you don't believe, just say something fucking neutral.
Exactly.
Like,
or find the truth.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a Christian, but I went to church on the weekend to try something new. And towards the end of it, there was a dude who was up there, and it was like, he was given a history lesson, and he wasn't a really fabulous communicator, and his story was all over the place, and so I kept zoning out. And then it's like, I have two choices. I can sit here and think this is boring, or I can go look for a positive. And it's like, he may be losing me, but he's passionate. And then I started to tune into that, and I just started to admire him for being so passionate. And I was like, wow, this guy loves this. Like, that's incredible how much he loves this. And at the end of it, I don't tell him that I zoned out a million times. I tell him that it's so amazing to see how passionate you are. And his face lit up, and that was priceless.
Oh, that's a bit cute.
Right? It's like there's always a positive.
So you're trying to give back to him too.
Pardon?
You're giving back to him too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know, sometimes when that happens, I'm like, oh, fuck, this is just a bit boring. So I also say to my clients, like, it's not about never having an adverse experience or about thinking, you know, something is shit, or it's just about like that balance of, as long as most of the time we're moving towards like what's working, or what feels nourishing, what feels good, what feels, moderate, then I think we'll have less problems.
1,000,000%. Affirmation I've been using a lot recently is how I do one thing is how I do everything, and it'll just pop into my head, and then I'm like, okay, how I do one thing is how I do everything, and then you breathe and you like just relax, and then it's like, oh yeah, sweet. My favorite mantra at the moment is like, I just do what's in front of me each moment, because I think
it would be so easy to be overwhelmed otherwise by like the sheer amount of things I say yes to. And so then I'm like, you know, if I think about all of it, I mean, it does mean that I'm somewhat disorganized. Like I can just be a bit like, all right, yeah, this is the thing right now, right? I'd like to change that. Be a bit more deliberate, so I'm not like, oh fuck, I've got that school thing on for my son this week and I have to move all my clients. But yeah, I think there is something just about being present in each moment and working towards each moment and giving as much of yourself as you can, knowing that that's going to be variable at each time. I think that's also been helpful, not to put that pressure to be like fucking everything all the time.
Yeah. I got a loophole to that, and it's that imperfection is perfect.
Yeah.
And so it's that part of me that wants to be perfect. It's like, you already are.
Yeah.
You don't have to try it.
Yeah. 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 It's nice when you can just take like the pressure valve off yourself and just be human. And I think I'm still working on that.
Oh, aren't we all? What are your, like, some of the practices that you love to help take that pressure valve off?
I love to run. I think running is my medicine at the moment. I feel like running's my biggest thing, actually. It's the thing that keeps me most sane. Breathwork, naturally. I mean, honestly, I think psychotherapy was game-changing for me. I had a really incredible psychotherapist, Ricky Barrows, if anyone's listening, he's in Canada. He's like, I think he's the best of the best. I've seen a lot of therapists and he's just incredible. And yeah, he honestly helped me transform my life. So yeah, I think I still probably do a lot of the work that we did together, but just with myself, where I really tune into like the physical sensations of emotions, where I notice my reactions. I use them as data, like you said before. I see if that data is something I need to action or just information for me. Like, I think I'm just a little bit more deliberate about my internal experience and just testing out, like, is this a neurotic reaction? Is this signal anxiety? So telling me that I need to do something to protect myself. And I've really slowed things down. I used to do a lot really quickly and be very reactive and very almost like performative in terms of, now I'm like, I just don't want to be that way anymore. So like, even I noticed with your booking, I'm like, sorry, I just do things slowly. That's kind of like how I operate in the world, right? And I think that slowing down and letting myself process and think through things has been game changing. I often think practices, I love baths and swimming in the ocean, and so anything where the dive reflex gets initiated. So that's the mammalian dive reflex, so being in cold water. Having a bath can initiate it, as long as you put your head underwater, like ice pack back of the neck. It all brings on parasympathetic activation, which is just really, really, really good for the body, really, really good for bringing things down. And I usually just recommend putting an ice pack on the back of your neck every day after work, just as like a strategy to help bring that nervous system back down into a state of homeostasis without having to do any cognitive work or breath or anything. It's just like a simple tool. So I think I have a few practices. But
I love that. It's interesting. I love connecting dots in my own head as you're connecting all of these like psychological words and scientific words for things, because I'm very like raw, unhinged. Like,
if you don't understand anything I say, please.
No, like
say,
I do.
I try and say it in plain English, but I'm like, oh, does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know the words, but when you explain it, I'm like, that's what they call it. Like,
That's the name of the thing. It's got a fancy name. I know. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. No, it's amazing because it's good to feed that that intellectual part of me, because I don't get involved into the world. I try to stay how do I word this? I try to stay in my own lane as much as I can, in the sense of placebo is the biggest like thing in the world. And you look at all of the studies on placebo, like that was enough for me to just go, I'm just going to go into my own lane as much as I can and trust that I am my greatest teacher. And if that means I'm delusional, then so be it.
No, not at
but then it's like, I'll just figure it out as I go, and just trust, like having so much trust and surrender that I'll figure it out. And then I get to have conversations like this. It connects me up with the science of it, and I'm like, oh yeah, sick.
yeah. Sorry. And my husband's like, often like, you need to be careful like how you communicate about things, because otherwise people won't understand. So I try, but it's still something I'm definitely working
if I didn't get it, I would have said something.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've got a new business coach who's like, not everyone's like science email, like you need to learn how to speak about things simply. I'm like, I'm trying. I always welcome like questions or curious minds, because I think for a lot of people, they just want to understand themselves, and they want to understand why they do the things they do. And I think for a lot of us, it's just like, we just are like, if we can just come to accept ourselves fully, then life just gets so much easier, right? And I say that, it's a bit of a broad sweeping statement. It seems like it's a simple thing to do. Well, it's fucking not. But I think breath can be one way to just realize what's real versus what's just a thought in our head. And just coming back to that like state of like just being is just like so fucking refreshing, right? It's like we're looking for someone else to hold us, but when we can just learn to hold ourselves, then we don't need to look outside of us for that same thing. It's also normal to want that. But I think like you, I was always looking for someone to come and fucking rescue me. And then I was like, oh, no one's going to rescue me. Like if I don't do this, then I'm not going to have a good life. Yeah,
exactly. It's like if I don't interrupt this pattern, if I don't make the conscious effort, as uncomfortable as it feels sometimes, then it's just going to keep going. And it's like you go through enough bad days. I don't even like calling them bad days. I'd rather say negative, because that's more linear, whereas bad is a judgment. But it's like you go through enough negative days, you start to put the puzzle pieces together, and you're like, I just can't be fucked. I really can't be fucked.
And also, like, I say to people, like, if you have those days, like, it's also okay to, like, fucking crawl up in a ball and just be like, I just don't fucking want to today. Like, so many of my clients punish themselves for having those days, and I'm like, just have a day or two. Like, sometimes we just need rest. Not everything. I actually saw, who's that influencer? He's like an exercise guy on the Gold Coast. I can't remember his name. I'm not very good with names, but he was talking about, like, he went online and he was talking about having a bad day, and he's like, all these fucking coaches in my inbox going, dude, I can do this, like, work with you. And he's like, I don't need work. I was just fucking tired. I just needed fucking sleep. And I was like, yes, like, I think we're so quick to pathologize everything. And like sometimes all we need to do is close the door, turn off all the lights, watch a movie, rest. And I think sometimes that can be the most healing thing to do. Eat ice cream, be indulgent, and I don't even like that word, but just do something that feels human. Fucking good.
Exactly. That was something that since I've like really come off this heavy reliance on smoking weed, one of the big pin drop moments I've had, what's the word? Penny drop, was finding compassion for that part of myself that was so shameful. Because it's like the more time I'd spend sober, and then you start to rewire yourself, like you rewire yourself sober, and then you're like, I was like, holy shit, man, like no wonder I used to fucking smoke so much, like this is fucked, like no wonder. And I was just like, I just forgave myself for everything, and I was like, because I'd go through those loops. I'd forgive myself, and then I'd sabotage it, and then I'd just sort of go through those cycles, but then you come out of it and it's like, no wonder.
We're all just doing the best job we can, right?
Exactly.
And sometimes that looks like, our coping strategies will evolve over time, right? But we all have psychological defenses, and for some of us it might be substances. For other people, it might be avoiding relationships, or so they're not triggered. And we're all just trying to be relational beings, right, when it comes down to it. And based on how safe it was to be in a relationship will determine how healthy our coping strategies are, or our psychological defenses. So I often say to people, like, that kept you alive.
Exactly.
So we can thank that part of you that developed these fucked up ways of coping because that's what got you to this point, and now we can just like upgrade the software a bit so that you're not relying on these things that hurt you anymore.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we can move you towards intellectualizing about your problems instead, and you know, distancing, you know, through thinking rather than through alcohol or weed or.
Well, it's just like you're just trying to experience a different consciousness, like we're saying, like you're just trying to get a break.
Yeah.
You're trying to have a break, and once it used to be like I would sort of operate down here, or I would operate up here, and then so this would like take me out of it, and I'm like, holy shit, I have energy to be a fucking human. And then you do enough work, and then you're like, holy shit, is this what it feels like to be sober and like to be a human? Like, is this really what it's like? And then, yeah, it's just going through that whole dance, but then understanding it's like the only answer is compassion. And the more, the other answers that you desire, like they will come. If you don't have them already, they will come. One of the best things that I ever got told was my breathwork mentor he said to me, these things are an elephant. And how do you eat an elephant? One mouthful at a time. You can't eat an elephant in one sitting. It's impossible. And again, that's another get out of jail free card I would use. It's like, oh yeah, it's an elephant. I've recognized it. Oh, that's good enough. Oh, no way. It can't be that easy. It is that easy. No, it's that simple. It's not always easy, but it is very, very simple. It's like we come back to those techniques that we would describe, and it's the simplest things are the ones that seem to be the most effective for us.
Yeah, another thing, I'm going back to one of your other questions that one of my mates works through, and he's like a spiritual guidance kind of support person, intuitive healer. His name's Dave John, and you know, he often talks about like clearing yourself energetically, you know, using white light, breathing in through your body, letting the energy kind of like, the white light energy clear from the top of your head right down to your feet, and then like bringing that into the earth, and then also sealing off afterwards. So imagining like a cocoon of white light around you, and like letting that kind of protect you energetically, which I think in our kind of work, like as a psychologist in breath work, and for you as a coach, I think is really important, energetic hygiene. I never really understood it, a bit like you, until I stopped, and then I was like, fuck, it's like I'm being assaulted. And I still, you know, because I work a lot with energetic practitioners, I still will often be told I've got stuff on me, stuff to be cleared out of me, and I do notice a huge difference when they do that work with me. But yeah, I do find, just having daily practices for that you can use, so you're not kind of getting caught up in other people's stories. And I think that can happen from a psychological perspective, insofar as when I first started, I probably really wanted to rescue people from their difficulties, whereas now I just know I can't rescue anyone from anything they don't want to kind of work through, which is also fucking so liberating, because you just don't work as hard. You're like, oh, actually this is like a problem inside of them that they have the capacity to solve. They just have to want to solve it, and I'm just the guide, right? Which just feels so much nicer.
Huge weight off.
I used to try and rescue everyone, and that wasn't good.
No, it's not. It's just exhausting. And it's a reflection of yourself. It's like, because on some level you want to be rescued.
Well, I think I also attributed a lot of my worth to like, could I help these people? And so then when I couldn't help them, I felt like I was failing. So I was taking too much responsibility, and I was actually getting in the way of their healing. So it's been really nice to realise that, and not just learn it, but to like really embody it, because that's quite different. Like I think I probably had to learn it about 15 times. And that's not in my private life, that's just in my, because I used to record all my therapy sessions. I still record some of them, and I take them to supervision. And had some incredible supervisors. One's John Frederickson, he's like the king of this work, and he's like you really allow your patients to like mistreat you, like almost like in a pseudo-masochistic way, like where they would hurt me and then I would like smile as though like that wasn't a problem. And I also wasn't telling them the truth about how if they do that in their relationships, you know, people aren't going to want to be close to them. So that was fucking confronting. I cried a lot and had a lot of grief and guilt also, for not telling all these clients the truth about how they were mistreating me. And now I'm like, if it rears its ugly head, I'm like, do you notice how you're like speaking to me in this way? And what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah.
What do you think is the kind of reason underlying that? But yeah, it's a fucking humbling job. It's a really humbling job in the best possible way. I love it, but it's also a lot sometimes.
Yeah, for sure, because it's a legit thing. Like, and when I talk to people who are still iffy or wooey on the concept of energy, it's like, bro, do you use Wi-Fi? Do you understand how that works? I fucking don't. But we're connected to it. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And then you give a practical example as well that they can relate to even more. It's like, have you ever walked into a room and it just feels off? Or it's like you can see there's like this couple isn't fighting, but you're certain right before you walked into that room they were fucking ripping each other's heads off.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
And then even like when I've done breathwork with clients, it's like I learned that very early on, that when I'm facilitating sessions, I have to take care of myself afterwards. And even during the session, I have to separate myself from it to make sure that I don't take it on. It's like, okay, this is not mine. No, thank you. Like, let's just push it through. But then afterwards, like being conscious of the conversations I entertain and who I hang out with, because I learned some pretty tough lessons that can be a bit sensitive after a heavy breathwork session that I facilitate, even if I do it myself. And it's like, you've got to have those processes. It's like my favorite thing to do is to jump in the ocean. It's like, that's a proper reset.
Yeah, I usually just go home to bed.
Yeah.
So I'm usually cooked. But I think it is good, like as a facilitator, also to have those energetic practices. I'm actually like running a retreat in Bali, and the whole premise of it is like for the healers to be held. Like for the people who are like always carrying everyone else's emotional material, stress, because I think like, we can do a lot of work to seal off and stuff, but I don't know about you, like I've had some fucking hectic conversations across my career, and I can't say that just goes, like, I feel all of the feelings that they feel, right? I know they're not mine, and yet I still feel them. And I've been sitting at dinner and had huge amounts of grief rise through my body, like love, and then also anger towards clients. And when I came up with, my friend actually came up with the retreat idea for Bali, it was really like, just for people to like just finally just like fucking put down all the weight and have other people carry it for them. And because I just think there's so many of us who are so dedicated and in love with the profession, and this is probably what I need too, right? That then we don't fully offer ourselves the same. There's actually a breathwork facilitator who'll be doing some work down here. Fiona, you should do her stuff. She's incredible and especially good at that. Like. Yeah. Her Instagram handle's Nourished Space, and she does a really good job of like being that feminine holding energy, which I think is really yummy. And I remember after I did her breath work, I was like, it's just so nice to be held.
Yeah.
And literally held like in her arms and just sob and just it felt like a mother, and I think you don't often get that experience as an adult, which is really quite something.
The whole it's not really a concept, but like the world of masculine and feminine energy is so fascinating to me. I used to be an example is I used to be quite I went through this phase where I was really mad at my mum because she's a counsellor, and then I was like, I'm doing all this work and she's helping people, but she's not doing the work, and I was just like comparing myself and and then like it just clicked one day and I was like, she is the ultimate divine feminine, like to carry that stuff but then still somehow give me this unconditional love when I was growing up. It's like, that is the ultimate. It's like, and then the penny dropped and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll take all of the shit that you gave me, no problem. It is my honor, because the stuff that, like the positive stuff, it's all positive because it all made me who I am. But it's like the love, not the trauma that she gave me, but the love that she gave me, that was by far like overweight, anything else, and it's like, 100% take it on, no problem.
It's interesting, right? And I think it's like we don't have to ward off any of the mixed feelings either, but yeah, the love, like appreciating the love. Like similarly, my mum was very imperfect, but the love that she showed me, you know, like her capacity for love, yeah, was just incredible. And I think, and I think it taught me how to love and in a way that I've never forgotten, and now I can give to other people, which is really, really special. And yeah, I feel really lucky to have that from her. Yeah, but still miss her as well.
Yeah,
even though she's a bit of a pain in the ass.
Do you talk to her?
Similar. Sometimes I talk to her, not as much as I used to. I think my relationship with her has changed. I think I lean more into maybe definitely with my husband and my friends more. Yeah, for that support that I probably once went to her for. But yeah, it's interesting. My friend Dave has done a channeling session with me, and he was like, you know, she's next to you, right? And I'm like, it's really interesting because I don't feel her. I feel energy of guides, and I've never felt alone. Well, I mean, I felt lonely, but I just always, things would just work out for me.
Yeah.
Didn't mean I didn't go through hard times, but I've always been blessed.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just trust that there's something happening at that level that I can't explain, and maybe I never will, and maybe I'll never really fully understand, and that's also okay.
I feel like that's the point, though. Like, to explain it with English words takes us away from the pure magic of it all.
Yeah. It's pretty special.
Have you ever asked her to send you signs?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah?
Never.
They get spooky, or?
No. I've never received anything.
Oh,
Whereas, like, when my grandfather died, he just wouldn't fuck off.
Yeah, right.
It was very clear that he was sending me signs, like turning the TV on at 3 o'clock in the morning, turning on toys of my eldest son that hadn't worked for like 12 months. Even my husband got to a point, like, he's the most non-spiritual person ever, and he was like, yeah, that's Papa, like, he's here. No and I had actually spoken to a friend at the time, and she's like, you need to ask him to leave if it's freaking you out. So I did, and then it stopped.
Wow.
So yeah, I think he was just a bit overprotective, always was, and so I was thinking he was just a bit anxious about leaving me. Yeah, because I didn't grow up with a father, so he was like my dad. And then when Mum died, he felt very responsible for me, for making sure that I was okay. And I'd met my husband by then, but I think he was still like, you know, he was probably still a bit worried.
Yeah, of course.
Didn't probably fully trust that I was going to sort my shit out, but I did. So.
Out of curiosity, how much time have you got?
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to have... It's meant to have started the next...
Oh, you're kidding?
Yeah. So I probably should check the emails.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. Well, should we wrap up or pause? How do you feel?
Do you want to pause for a minute and then maybe we can do like 10 more minutes?
Yeah, no worries.
Check the email. Then I can have a break before that. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
They should have come in, but just don't want to be waiting outside.
Yeah, I've been looking at the glass. I couldn't see anyone hovering.
Oh, thank you. That's just my clients telling me I haven't sent them invoices.
So did you have anyone book in?
No, not for 5 p.m.
Oh, okay.
So just at 6:30.
Yeah, sweet.
I can have a bit of a break.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up.
Get my notes done and get my playlist like perfected. That's like my thing that I like to do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I really love music. My husband actually gave me my first DJ lesson yesterday.
You're kidding?
Yeah, so
no
it was
way.
really fun. I like drum and bass. We were mixing
That's
drum and bass.
so funny.
Yeah.
I fucking love music. I had a dream last night that was telling me I need to step more into music because it's like my soul is screaming for it.
Yeah, it's I love music. I actually went to Rufus Do Soul last night. Well, not last night, last week as well. It was beautiful.
Wicked.
I was like, I can't really afford to go, but I'm just fucking going. I think being in New Zealand taught me that. I went to a bar and are playing really good music, and I was like, I just really want to feel more alive in this way. And I'd love to try some of the sober music events, but I think I am just a bit like, I just like a dingy bar and like loud tunes, and I think that's also okay. Like, I think I was like, either you're one way or the other way. I think right now I'm actually just trying to find that more middle ground or my own polarity and just allow it, rather than being like, you can only be this way. Like that, yeah, I can let myself be complicated. I actually got a big compliment today from one of my friends online. She was like, she wrote, "You're a multi-dimensional woman, Mel." It was about the DJing thing with my husband. I was like, fuck yeah, I want to be multi-dimensional. I don't want to be just one thing. I want to be all the things, right?
Oh, so he's a DJ, is he?
Who, my husband?
Yeah.
He was, yeah.
True.
He can still play, but he doesn't play in
That's
clubs
wild.
anymore. Yeah.
I'm a DJ.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was me it's still me in this life, but I did it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And did quite a bit of it. It's something I want to get back into massively since I've been up here, like driving through surfers, and I'm like, imagine just playing here and just going nuts.
Yeah. There's even the crew in WA. I don't know if you know them, but they do the dawn rave things. I don't know what it's called.
Oh, I think I heard of the headphones on the beach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I know one of the guys in that crew, really, really good guy. He's a DJ, and so, but they're touring around Australia. I think it's called Dawn Break.
Right.
Dawn Break. Yeah, but they do a lot of sober beach raves. So I think there's a lot of space for that kind of thing. And I imagine, the Gold Coast, I hate to say it, I'm not like a fucking coffee rave chick. I'm like, coffee shops, I mean, I sound so fucking judgmental, I'm just going to say it. I don't feel like coffee shops are the place for raves. It's just not my jam. But
was that a thing?
Yeah. On the Gold Coast, fucking everywhere, they do these coffee fucking shop raves.
What, at 6 a.m?
I don't know. I think it's more like 9 or 10. But I'm
true.
like, come
That's
on,
wild.
guys. Can we not just let the culture be the culture? I'm all good for dawn beach raves. That feels like part of the culture. Just in the old days, people would have been taking heaps of MDMA and tripping balls. But, now people are sober. I'm fully across that. But doing it at a coffee shop,
Are you hating, Mel?
Pardon?
Are you hating?
I'm hating. I'm just not up for it. I just think I love culture to stay I think there's something also beautiful about a dingy bar and heavy tunes and sticky floors, and I just that part of culture to kind of stay part of culture.
Oh, it will for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's everything, it evolves. You're going to have the things that stay and the things that evolve, and then it comes back around. Look at what all the young people are wearing these days. It's I mean, I wasn't alive in the 80s, but the photos I've seen, it's it takes you back.
Yeah, it's full on. Well, it's even it's very 90s. I feel very this is what I was wearing
right.
in my teens. It's hilarious. And it was it wasn't good back then. But
it's cool. I was in Cotton On the other day, and so there's jorts everywhere. I was like, okay, I'll try some jorts on. I was like, you're too short for jorts, mate. You need to get these hemmed.
I almost bought a skort the other day. I was I really want a skort, and I was like, fuck. Oh my god, I'm fully becoming. I'm just so fucking hot all the time. It's so hot. So
bring back the skorts.
Yeah.
All right, we'll edge towards wrapping up.
She's starting hating on rave coffee culture. It's time
I'm going to go sniff it out, and then I'm going to come back and probably tell you that I think it's the best thing since sliced bread. Yeah, you probably
will. Well, you look for the joy in everything. And look, if I was there, I'd probably be like, this is cool, but I think that's probably my more judgy part.
Literally stick to your flaws.
Yeah. Or I don't know.
Stick to your sticky flaws.
I kind of like the underground culture too. I think there's something special about it. And,
It's all. I mean, on one level, it's all escaping. Well, it depends how you look at it. It's either an escape or it's a release. I used to look at it as an escape.
Okay.
It's now I would look at it more as a release for sure, because you just, it's you're just careless, and you're not chasing. I used to do that. I would chase that feeling, chase that high, chase whatever it was. It's like I need more.
I just used to like to dance.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, I would just dance. And I think I'm the same now. I just want to dance. And so, yeah, as long as there's space to do that. And, yeah, for me, I see that as like therapy. Like just, again, it's kind of like running, right? It's just discharging energy through the body. And I think there's something about music where you're singing, and so you're also, you know, using, you know, the vagus nerve gets a bit of a little vibration, which is really good for vagal toning, which is essentially helping increase heart rate variability, which is a sign of good nervous system health. So, yeah, I think a lot of the stuff I like is all vagal toning stuff. So it's probably all stuff that I just needed, but just didn't kind of know the avenues to take and how to get those needs met. But it would work, and I would feel really good for it. So, yeah, I think it's really special.
As we gear towards the wrap up, run me through, and it doesn't have to be the biggest, but just whatever comes to mind, but the biggest life lesson that you've learned, or something that really sticks out to you.
Oh gosh, it's hard to like choose.
Whatever popped up first.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest piece is self-responsibility, and yeah, I think the more that I've experienced that firsthand, and like the most recent example was with Rita, my friend who's a shamanic energy healer, and yeah, with her, we'd just done rape, and I remember afterwards just lying down and thinking, yeah, like I'm not in control of anyone else. They're not in control of me. Like we're all our own kind of autonomous beings, you know, well, depends how much you believe in, you know, fate, etc. But yeah, I think I just had this like really deep experiential surrender into that. And for me, that was transformational. And ever since then, even like looking at my dog, it's like really funny, like just looking at him as autonomous, and that he's not just a, you know, some kind of external source for me to get my needs met, right? He's his own incredible being, and he will want his own wishes met. And yeah, I think when you just start to meet your children, your clients, your friends in that way, you just, you know, it's good for you and it's good for them, that there's just an acceptance that everything is perfect. You know, and these are Rita's words, every experience is a journey. And I think she would say, and you are the creator. So, yeah, I think it's just, yeah, I think Rita's been one of my biggest teachers in that way, just to, yeah, be curious and responsible for yourself, and trust that everyone else will hopefully find their own path to that too.
I love that. I can relate to that so hard. Recently, I've been seeing plants and nature and animals in a different light. Like I'll go for like the walk along the beach on the Gold Coast, just on my Lime bike, and I am just obsessed with the dogs. And I never really experienced this before, but like I'm just looking at them and I'm like, whoa, you're alive and you're happy and you're walking and like you're your own thing. And it's just, it's incredible. But then it also takes pressure off yourself as well, because it's like you don't have to save anybody. You're doing your thing, they're doing their thing, but then you get to sit back and enjoy the beauty of it rather than trying to like put your paws in it.
That's right. Yeah, you can keep your paws out of other people's processes and just be there, you know, still like I'm here. You know, I love you. I think this has helped me a lot in my marriage. I used to think I had to like fix myself or fix my husband, and I think just trusting that, that that will all happen in good time, and being patient, and, you know, I have my moments for sure, but I think when I come back to that, I can, be more present and more accepting of him rather than wanting him to be someone else, which I think is easy to do when you've been with someone for a long time. You can kind of like, want to change them or want to change yourself, and that's not how life works. Like, we don't get to change anyone. So I think it's just accepting that.
And what do you want to leave people with?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think just knowing that you have all the tools and all the capabilities inside of you to do whatever you want, and it's just about choosing that, right? And that as long as you keep choosing that, then you'll keep moving towards it in different ways. And it might not look like the vision that you had in your mind originally, but it will look like some version of that. And I think I think we can be our own, like, we just cock block ourselves so much, right? Like, from achieving our dreams, and like, just try to interrupt that and just see what comes through when you allow yourself to be imaginative and inviting in everything that you've ever wanted.
It makes me think of the thing that was spoken about all podcasts, which is the concept of how easy can you make it for yourself?
Yeah.
How easy can you make it to win? How easy can you make it to grow? How easy can you make it for your guides and your loved ones to contact you? Like, how easy can you make it?
That's a really good thing to leave it on.
Well, what an episode. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for having me on, and thank you for coming to the breathwork session.
Pleasure. Pleasure.
Yeah, it's always beautiful to meet, like-minded people, and I'm really grateful to you for your time too. I know time is our most precious resource, so when people give that to you, I think it really is special and meaningful, and so thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me in your beautiful second home.
Yes.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Melissa Beaton, MELISSABEATON .psychologist, or at www.ZenSoHouse, ZenSoHouse.com. So they're my main spaces, and and I mostly practice as a psychotherapist, clinical psychologist also. My books are usually pretty full for a few months in advance, but I can take people on a wait list. But teach breathwork in person, and run retreats and corporate events, not only to get people, into their breath, but to actually transform. So rather than us just teaching practices, it's like making it something that people can embody, so that they can be held by themselves, responsible in themselves, and truly have that experience. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. That was so fun.